Oh, cool.
Okay, well, should we start letting people in since it's 6 if we're going by time?
Sure.
All right.
It's okay by me.
Okay, I'm gonna let people in then. Hello, welcome. Hello, thank you all for joining us. People are connecting to audio, I see. Hello, hi Ron, hi Muriel, hi Margarita, hi Marcy. Hello, David, Susan. Go Art Space. Hi, good to see your faces. So, I think that we're going to get started. Viviana, do you have some words?
Yes, are we ready? Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to BCA, virtual BCA, and the last of our Bronx Expression series of performances. It's been a challenging year, but a wonderful year as well, and we're very proud to bring you the work of Bronx artists. And as you know, BCA tries to represent Bronx artists of colors and address many of the issues that are being, impacting all of us today. So I know that you have a wonderful evening. I want to invite you to check our newly launched artist registry for those of you who are Bronx artists. Our intention is to make sure, this is my cat, this is Daisy Duke. Our intention is to ensure that Bronx artists have a place where, we get 4,000 visitors to our website monthly, so that you are seeing, and we always get calls from people looking for artists. So we felt that that would be a service that we can provide. So it's free for this year. Check it out. And if you want to, list yourself there, I think it'll be wonderful, because then you can promote yourself as well. I think that's about it. I want to just thank also the staff, particularly Ariana Reyes, you all know, Brian Glover, who worked very hard to put this series together. And this was made possible by the Coalition of Theaters of Color with support from Council Member Vanessa Gibson. So advocate that we can get support next year as well. And, write to your legislators and stuff asking for support of the arts. We need to band together. So I'll pass it along to Ariana, and I thank you again for being here. And sorry if I'm going to have to sneak out a little earlier, but great meeting you all.
Thank you so much, Viviana, for that introduction. And I will find the information for the artist registry to send to people if you're interested. Just want to give a little virtual welcome to our performers, and thank you so much for coming to Sacred Objects with Billy X Curmano and Nicolás Dumit Estévez Raful Espejo. So just to tell you a little bit about the artists we have with us tonight, Billy X Curmano engaged in a 2,364.4 mile swim from the source of the Mississippi River to the Gulf of Mexico as a performance and environmental statement. In another performance, he fasted on juice and water for 40 days in Death Valley, seeking visions and enlightenment. In 2011, Nicolás Dumit Estévez Raful Espejo was baptized as a Bronxite by the Bronx River by Bill Aguado, former BCA director, and Susan Newmark Fleminger, who is here with us tonight, I believe. In an earlier experience, he traveled from the Bronx to Berlin, Germany, where he surrendered his persona before entering the Czech Republic, where he embodied the Holy Infant of Prague full-time for 5 days. Please welcome Nicolás and Billy tonight.
Great Spirit, help us in our quest. Help us to know which route is right and which is best. Greetings from the Mississippi River to the Bronx River. During my swim, I started every morning with that prayer, and Great Spirit to me means the spirit that's within each and every one of us, in all the creatures that surround us, in the trees, in the plants, in the entire environment and our world. And by the same token of everythingness, I feel it's very important in these times to mention racism and abolish racism, which comes from the top to the bottom and the bottom to the top. Abolish racism from the South, from the West, from the North, and from the East. Abolish racism. Nicolás.
Nicolás, you're muted.
I invite everyone here to either close your eyes or gaze down at the floor, or you may stare at a wall with a soft gaze. Open your ears and imagine that your ears are your eyes in a way, and try to see with them at the same time that you use them to listen. And just be with whatever emotion or feeling arises. It was in 2011 that I was baptized in the Bronx River as a Bronxite by Bill Aguado and Susan Newmark Fleminger. That is quite a while ago, many years. And while looking in my archives, I found a DVD. I found an audio piece. I pulled it out of the archives and I played it. And I got goosebumps because what I heard spoke to what we're going through today. So I invite you to listen, to just listen and be with whatever arises. What is one allowed to say, and how much does it matter? Should one remain silent? Should one continue living in neglect so others enjoy the fruit one's oppression generates? Should one breathe polluted air because no other part of the city but the South Bronx is pushed to deal with fertilizer plants that make homes smell like? It is best to avoid using French words here. English only, for now, and Spanish when elections are near. At voting time, even those who can't say please are the politicians' amigos, friends of some kind. But shouldn't the politicians one elect be working doing what is good for the neighborhood? Let the Bronx River water flow and make noise in the midst of silence. In the South Bronx, one walks on dirty sidewalks because Park Avenue comes first for garbage collection. Are the teachers and parents in the Bronx doing their job, telling children to put garbage in the proper place? Is the city doing its job? There are not enough garbage cans around. And the message sent by those in power, those who one should be respecting, is that the neighborhood is an open dumpster. Milky Way wrappers do not make a good dessert. Let the water of the Bronx River flow and bring neighborliness between the people and the politicians.
This river has always been a great source of life to people and other wildlife. The Native Americans who undoubtedly settled right here called it Aquahan, River of High Bluffs, but when Jonas Gronk, the first European settler in the area, came in, he lived near here and this became known as Bronx River and eventually gave its name to the borough. It was such a source of power that people started putting dams on the river to get power, to power mills that settled along this river. And eventually those mills, factories, are what started polluting the river, and it grew very polluted indeed. It was called an open sewer. I think we'd all say amen, I believe that.
Wealth grows from someone's deprivation, and we all live in one of the richest cities in the world, the South Bronx included. For years, in the Bronx, many have lived in oppression and are now seeking to embrace liberation. So, how can those who live in environmental despair continue putting up with asthma? How can those pushed to the bottom of society continue carrying someone else's weight? Let the Bronx River water flow. Just flow and talk to you in private. There are enough correctional facilities in the South Bronx to reform every dissident voice, to restrain every teenage dream behind bars. But restrained voices have a difficult time reaching out to family members, friends, and authorities. Let the Bronx River water flow and renew the hopes of the borough.
Nicolás Dumit Estévez, born in 1967 in Santiago, Dominican Republic, to Dominican Lebanese and Dominican parents. After moving to New York City in 1991, Nicolás became a Dominican York. Today, he will become a Bronxite.
It might be in the flowing in the water of the river, from which the borough got its name, that an all-time resilient Bronx will continue to emerge. Let the water of the Bronx River flow, 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 into the ears of the city officials, and invite them to be neighbors. Let the Bronx River water flow and give birth to the new hopes of the borough. And whenever you're ready, you may open your eyes and sit with whatever emotion has arisen for you without judging it. And I'm going to ask Billy to tell us about his medicine pouch, because it seems like we need so many remedies at this time, myself included.
The medicine pouch itself is a sacred item, but what it contains are all sacred items. I began the Mississippi River swim as a performance and environmental statement. I was influenced by Europeans who thought if they sailed across the ocean, they could claim the Americas. I thought perhaps if I put my fragile body into the Mississippi River, a river that is sometimes known as the father of waters because it represents all the world's waters. I thought if I would swim that river, perhaps I could reclaim it for life-affirming pursuits under the banner of art. Every day when I began, I asked for guidance and I brought out this brain-tanned medicine pouch. Mammals have enough tannin within their brains to tan their entire skin. This pouch was tanned with the tannin from the brain of the deer that gave up its life for it. While swimming the Mississippi, it's a big river and it goes across the continent. 2,367.4 miles is what I logged. And on the way, there were various things that I worried about. And one of the things within the medicine pouch is bear root. My indigenous friends told me that bear root repels pit vipers, and they often put it on the altars to keep rattlesnakes away. Water moccasins are also pit vipers, and I was terrified of them. But I knew that the creatures of the planet would be with me. They would understand that I'm trying to do something that would benefit us all. And I mixed up bear root into a powder that I put into barrier creams that I covered my body with because I thought it can't hurt. And I had no problem with water moccasins. Perhaps we could see a crown now.
Crowns and gold. I can tell you a story about 2007 when I traveled from the South Bronx, from my home in the South Bronx to Germany, to Berlin, to surrender my personality and to embody the Holy Infant of Prague. Or maybe to invite the Holy Infant of Prague to embody me, I don't know. So I thought I needed a crown, and I thought a crown would come easy, but how wrong I was. I sent for a crown to Puebla in Mexico. And the crown was made with gold, and it was a big crown, and it was so difficult to wear. And the crown was heavy, but that wasn't all. The crown would not get home. The crown was stuck in a either Federal Express truck or DHL, probably DHL. And there was an accident on the road, and the crown would not get to the Bronx because the truck was stuck in traffic. And I, Nicolás, had to leave for Germany to then surrender my personality and get into the Czech Republic, but the crown was stuck somewhere on a highway. And if you bear with me, I'm going to show you, I'm going to let you have a peek of the actual crown. A crown that brought a lot of trouble, and gave me a lot of headaches. Yes, I wonder if that's what crowns are for, to give people headaches. Who needs a crown? Who needs a crown? A queen, a king, and that was the crown that gave me so many headaches. Well, the Infant of Prague, because I wasn't me anymore, and it was gold-plated, and it was very heavy and difficult to wear for 5 days in a row. And later on, I learned about Alice Walker's poem. I mean, just recently, we alone, Alice Walker, we alone can devalue gold by not caring. But I care then. If it falls or rises in the marketplace, wherever there is gold, there is a chain, you know. And if your chain is gold, so much the worse for you. Feathers, shells, and C-shaped stones are all as rare. This could be our revolution, to love what is plentiful as much as what is scarce. Alice Walker. So Billy, tell me about your mask. Tell me about your mask. Would you?
Yes. There's this mask comes from a cow pelvis. I fashioned it long ago for the day without art. There was a virus among us. It's still sometimes among us. It was the early days of the AIDS epidemic. And I had gotten frustrated with science not being able to give enough answers as people died. I wanted to go beyond science. I wanted to banish the virus from amongst us. I wanted to banish it. I built a funeral pyre. And I put a rat on it because I thought of the virus as a rat that was amongst us, eating away at us. And I brought the funeral pyre to flames. And I donned this mask. And right now there is another virus amongst us. We all know what that is. It has impacted all of us. It has impacted the poor people, the people of color the most. But it's among us and it's impacting us all. And we must banish the virus. We must banish the virus from the South. We must banish the virus from the West. We must banish the virus from the North. We must banish the virus from the East, from the sky, from the earth. We must banish the virus.
I went back to the Dominican Republic in 2014 to be part of the carnival. And my friend Josue gave me this potion. And you don't want to smell it. You do not want to smell it. He sprinkled that on me and I almost fainted. I think it has ammonia and it has all kinds of herbs. I don't know if you can see them. It's pretty intense. And Josue gave it to me while I was performing. And The label in this potion, in this bottle says, whatever I say, that's it. And he said to me, it says made in Venezuela, but it was actually made in the Dominican Republic. So they put that there just to give it a little bit of mystery. I don't know why. Whatever I said, that's it. And he instructed me to wear this, to put this on whenever I give a scholarly talk. So whatever I said, that's it. And with so much, I know that he intended that as something funny, because the year after they made a potion, a voodoo potion. This is a voodoo potion. They made a potion that said, I am a man, and so what? So what that I am a man? And so every year the potion has a political message, but the main message in this potion, which also has some humor to it and so much life, is that we do not take anything for free from nature, from so-called nature, from ourselves, because as Anna Halprin says, we are not part of nature, we are nature. And Josue explained to me that when they go out to gather all the herbs to make this potion, they throw a lot of coins to the earth, to Mother Earth. So nothing is taken for free. And they do that as an offering. And so he said, whatever I say, that's it. Whatever I say, that's it. And I thought about it. I thought about it, Billy, because I'm always in doubt.
The medicine pouch that I hold, my friend Rakiba made it for me to help protect me. And you notice that it closes and opens as a flower. It's in the shape of a flower. I think it's quite a very beautiful thing. And deep from within here, I can bring this very special piece out. When I decided to do a 40-day juice and water fast in Death Valley, I was not sure if I could do that. I had talked to some doctors about what can happen with long-term fasting. I had read all about it. I wasn't sure, but I had decided I had eaten too much in my life already. I was too full. I needed to empty it out. I needed to get rid of everything from my mind, from my body, from everywhere. I needed to get it all out. I was invited to speak at San Jose State University, and the person that was my main contact happened to be a Buddhist nun. She asked me if I would like to stay at the monastery, and I jumped at the chance. I thought this would be quite beautiful to stay at the monastery. And the monastery was very pristine, very beautiful. They did a good job keeping it very clean. I was very comfortable there. And I went into the meditation room and I sat down on the floor to meditate. And in all of this vast cleanliness, I found a single grain of rice and I saved it. Here it is. And I knew that all I really needed was a single grain of rice. Nicolás.
I think I need more than a grain of rice, Billy. And I don't know if you can hear the sound that my bag is making. This bag was given to me in Albion, Michigan. And guess what? Guess what? It's full of corn. And I keep it by my bed, so when I can't sleep because of what's going on in our nation, in the world, because of all the racism, because of all the ecological destruction, because all of the anxiety that it's eating me up, I hold it as I sleep and it soothes my nerves. This corn bag made in Michigan by Diana Wade. Corn, perhaps corn would renew us. Sacred corn, sacred rice, would help us sleep, would give us some peace. I hold tight onto this bag. But tell me about it, Billy. What else do you have to say?
I sometimes get frustrated by the technical world. I liked my grain of rice. I like your bag of corn. But I am drawn into this virtual space that we're all occupying right now. And sometimes there are problems. I needed to find a tech expert that could really help me. And I found Saint Clair. Saint Clair watches over my computer. Pope Pius XII realized that Saint Clair had visions on her wall, and those visions were very much like television. So Pope Pius XII named Saint Clair, who has been very helpful to me, as the patron saint of television. And of course, my computer has a monitor, which is much like a television. So if anything goes wrong, I look to Saint Clair.
Well, wait until you meet this guy. Wait until you meet this guy. His name is Malverde, and he's a Robin Hood in Mexico, in Sinaloa and all that area. He steals from the rich to give to the poor, but he's also has been adopted as the saint of drug dealers. And he has shrines made to him, and he has offerings and all kinds of prayers made to Malverde. And so he takes away from those who have too much, or so it's said, or so the story says, and he gives it to those who have nothing. Don't we need one like this? Don't we need one or many more like this to be taken away from those, or maybe from that 1% that has it all, and give it to the 99? Malverde, where are you? Saint Malverde, saint of the poor, the Robin Hood, the saint of drug dealers. Now, should we pray to Malverde? I don't know.
Swimming thousands of miles can be quite Zen-like, stroke after stroke after stroke. I developed a style of swimming where I could keep my head above the water so I could talk with my support crew. And we started talking about how the project really needed a mascot. So we talked about what would be the best mascot for the Swimming the River project. And we bandied about all manner of water-friendly creature, dogs, beavers, otters, And finally, we settled on a duckling. If I could get a duckling to imprint on me, it would follow me most anywhere. When we were near Wahpeton, Iowa, on August 14th, 1990, on Crew 21, right after we made this discussion, there in the weeds was Foamy, the Wahpeton duck. It's the first and only duck decoy that I found in the entire river project. It was over 900 miles in when Foamy appeared. We attached a line to Foamy, and he followed us all the way to the Atchafalaya Bay of the Gulf of Mexico. And I'm sure his protection is how we made it. Okay, Foamy, you can go back now.
Should we hear from people in the room about sacred objects that they may have brought in today? Things, talisman, things that keep you safe, things that keep you sane. Can we hear from you too?
We bring greetings to Billy and to Nicolás
And Margarita.
and Margarita. The sacred object we have is behind us, and you can probably see the sandhill crane. And this was made by a sculptor across the river from where Billy lives, Leo Smith. And Billy probably knows if he's still living, but I bought this many years ago. And it's our favorite piece of art. And when we spend winters in Florida, because we're seniors and retired, we see lots of sandhill cranes. They come up right to our deck, and they're a few feet away almost every day. So we feel very close to the sandhill cranes. And like Billy, we would like to abolish racism in all directions of the planet.
Leo lives on.
Thank you, Billy.
Thank you. Thank you. Should we make room for another object, one or two more objects? If you want to step forward, you're welcome to do so. Susan, we cannot hear you. If you can unmute yourself.
Okay. I brought an object that is a combination of a found object and something that I've made. And it's a little, and it has a protective quality. So it's a little glass box, probably no more than 2.5 inches square. And inside are little discs, glass discs. And on the bottom of the glass discs are photo images of my mother. And I had done these glass discs for some photographs that I took years ago. And they seem to want to live on after the photographs were made and painted over and used in paintings. And they seem to gravitate towards this box, which is in my bedroom. And it's a memory box, I guess, about my mother and thinking about her and collecting her image. And all the images are somewhat different because the glass magnifies different parts of them. So it's as I said, a combination of art and found objects, and then a collection in a memory box. That's really how I think about it. And I think that there's an element of protection. There's a little bit of an element of conversations with her, and a soothing element. And it wasn't as if I had a great all-time relationship with my mother, but it's her many faces in the box. So to me, it's important that it's near me. And I've never thought of it as a sacred object, but when Nicolás asked us to look around and select something, this was the first thing that I thought about and selected. So again, I'm happy to be here and to learn about all of these objects. And this has been a very difficult time, as everyone knows. And I often feel that the human race is kind of slowly destroying itself between diseases and racism and climate destruction. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else wants to step forward? Billy, did you realize that we are telling each other stories? We're telling stories to one another. And I thought that the computer has become the fireplace. Many of us no longer have a fireplace, and we're telling stories about this digital fireplace that could never replace the real fire, but nonetheless allow us to come together to remember. And I recently read that remembering means patching ourselves back together. Remembering, bringing all the members back together somehow, sewing them together, mending.
Yes, it's like a grand fire, although it's not a fire, but it can draw in people from farther apart. I know that when I have traveled, when I would see a fire, I would be drawn to it much as a moth is drawn to a fire. And I would want to find and talk with the people having the fire. Well, now, I think that's sort of a good metaphor, that this is what is drawing us together right now.
Do we have time for one more sacred object before we close for the evening? Do we have time for one more? If you want to step forward, you can do so.
And step forward. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm in front of my computer. I have so many talismans that I started thinking about it. They're all over the place, but in front of me, what's most immediate are three things, which I keep at my computer because this one I've had for probably 20 years, and it's to stay focused. It's the crystal in the web. I think it's probably a Native American type talisman. I don't know, but I bought it in Topanga Canyon at a crystal store. So I carry this with me a lot of places, and I travel a lot. So it's been in cars and planes. I also have a very modernistic little cube that's lucite for clarity. So focus and clarity. And then I have my little Buddha who's cheerful and jolly. So these are the things that I look at when I work and when I write.
Thank you so much. And I'm thinking about silence, maybe before we hand the microphone back to Billy. I'm thinking about silence as not as a sacred object, but maybe as a sacred, how should I call that? As a sacred space, as a sacred entity, as a sacred way of being. And I keep thinking there's so much going on. There's so much tumult. There's so much fear. There's so much anxiety. There's so much hope too embedded in all of these. And I'm so grateful for all the sisters and brothers who are outside fighting for all of us. I'm so thankful for each person out in the streets. But at the same time, I'm paying attention to the silence. And I was thinking about our Native American sisters and brothers who, personally speaking, and this might not apply to every situation, many times remain silent. Silent despite everything that has happened to them. And I see great balance there between the protest and the silence, one balancing the other. The sacred silence and the voice of protest, each one giving stability to the other. And so I invite everyone, before Billy says goodbye to the whole group and we say goodbye for the night, I would like to invite each one of us to maybe pause and stop for maybe like 50 seconds of silence. And whenever you're ready, Billy, you can send us off with the Mississippi rap.
Bye-bye, a Mississippi, a Mississippi River, bye-bye. Bye-bye, a Mississippi, a Mississippi River, bye-bye. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. Well, I like to swim that river, and I gotta say that that water is rising and it's coming our way. You be hiking and damming and holding it back, but the river keeps right on taking out the slack. You can't take away the floodplain, but then you'll complain when the river takes it back again in the spring rains. You can't handle it, channel it, or make it just so. Well, why not try and just go with the flow? Say, don't you know a river follows a winding road and it just becomes a channel when you straighten it out? People building towns all up and down that river route. You got your water inlets upstream and your sewage coming out. You may think it's clean upstream, but it's probably not. It's like drinking and pissing in the same pot. And there's sewage and poison and toxic waste from spraying and dumping all over the place, from front lawn, garden, and golf course. We gotta face facts, folks. We are the source. But there's biomass, filters, and crop rotation. With a little common sense, we could still save the patient. 4th of July, freedom and such, Yankee Doodle and all that stuff. Let me say implicitly, without freedom from toxicity, we ain't got much. going to cost some, and your profits may not be so howdy, but you do not miss your water until your well runs dry. There's an abundance of water on this prime planet. We got so much that we take it for granted. But we become the fool as we find that salt water won't get it for us most of the time. You know, when cities spring up next to the sea, they pipe in their water or they remain thirsty. So I want you to remember. I want you to remember. I want you to remember when you see that river, and that could be any river, heading out to the ocean. I want you to remember that you cannot contain it, for it's always in motion. I want you to say hello. I want you to say, how are you? And then I want you to say bye-bye. Say bye-bye, Mr. or Mississippi River. Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye, Bronx River. Say bye-bye, Hudson River. Say bye-bye, Chicago River. Say bye-bye, Milwaukee River. Say bye-bye, Los Angeles River. Say bye-bye, Rio Grande. Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Well, I think you get the idea. I said say bye-bye, Mississippi, a Mississippi River. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, y'all.
Thank you, Billy.
Thanks, everyone, for coming, for sharing your time with us.
Thank you. It was wonderful.
Yes.
Blessings, everyone. Blessings. Let's keep blessing each other so we survive.
Yes.
Bless each other. Keep
Important.
blessing people. Keep blessing plants. Keep blessing streets. Keep blessing food. Keep blessing. Blessings, Billy. Blessings, Ariana. Blessings, Bronx Council on the Arts. Blessing each one of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Blessings
you.
to each and every one of you. And I hope you take care of yourselves and have a good night. And if you enjoyed this performance and you feel so moved to fill out the survey, we would really appreciate it. But I hope that everyone takes the blessings that these performers brought us tonight and takes them with us throughout their journeys. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we hope that if you enjoyed, we have another performance next Wednesday as well. So you can find more information at bronxarts.org.
Good night, everyone. Thank you so much.
Good night, all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, round of applause for these performers. All right, good night. Be well.